Welcome to the Friends of Israel's Jew and Gentile podcast. I am your host, Chris Katolka, and with me is none other than the Jewish sage himself, the one, the only, Mr. Steve Herzig. How are you, sir?
Actually, I'm doing better than I was a year ago.
Why is that?
A year ago, it's a little more than a year. A year and 1 week. I fell and broke my hip trying to jump a gas hose.
So you were only a week, it was a week ago last year that this happened?
It was December 8th.
Just to let you know, if you're just tuning in to the Jew and Gentile podcast for the first time, the Jewish sage himself, the one and only Mr. Steve Herzig, here we go, hang on. The one and only Mr. Steve Herzig jumped a gas hose.
And missed.
In Connecticut, missed, tripped. And how old were you at this point?
I was 71.
Okay, so he hurdles over a gas hose while he's pumping his car, falls, breaks his hip, smashes his hip, ends up in one of the greatest moments of his life, he said.
That's exactly right.
To the chagrin of his wife, who says, greatest moment, a broken hip, but he was in the hospital having the time of his life. He got a brand new hip, and then FYI, so what is it now, the beginning of December? You had a new hip by this point, is that right?
December 9th, I got my hip.
Okay.
December 8th, I broke it. December 9th, I got a new one.
Okay, so, I see. Okay, so next week is the whole thing.
Yes.
All right, so even better. By the end of January, Steve was walking so well that he actually led the tour to Israel with me.
I didn't lead. You were lead. I was a co-leader.
Oh, fine. Well, we led it together.
Well, yeah, but you were doing. I couldn't do the our bell walk.
No,
I couldn't do that.
Zygazun, that's fine. I'm saying you still went to Israel.
Oh yeah.
Weeks
10,000 steps a day.
Do you feel it at all? Do you feel any different?
Oh yeah.
After
Sometimes
a year?
I know that I got a new hip. It lets me know.
How about, have you done the airport run? What's the difference in the airport run?
Interesting question. At first I said, I better not go through. So I did the, where you put your arms up and you tell them. And then I said to myself, why don't you try going through and see what happens?
Aren't you scared, like putting a fork in a microwave or something?
No. What, were they going to light me up or something?
Yes, it's going to.
Anyway, so I went through, nothing happened on the way to a place. On the way back, it lit up everything.
Let me ask you this. Was your first attempt going through the Philadelphia airport?
Yes.
I am convinced they don't do anything. I'm sorry, Philadelphia. I'm a Philly fan. I love Philadelphia. I get everything through Philadelphia's TSA. It's not until I'm coming home where they're like, you shouldn't have that. That lotion size is too big. That shampoo is too large. Philly, they don't even care.
Yeah,
take it through.
I had no problem. But Chris, as we approach that year anniversary, this is the way I feel.
What is that?
This came from Alice Herzig, my wife, who sent this to me. When I saw it, she actually texted it to me. And it is the picture, that game where you're doing surgery?
Yeah, the doctor game.
Doctor game.
Yeah.
Only this one is Jewish. So injuries from being a klutz.
Okay,
so there's a number of Jewish words here. First of all, always has schmutz on his face.
That's right.
Okay, so that's dirt. You got dirt. So this guy's got dirt on him. I could relate. And then there's the oi level.
Okay, you keep talking. I'm going to try to find this thing and bring it up.
There's the oi level. And then it's up to his pupik in debt. And pupik, of course, is the belly button. So there's a picture of him. He's in his underwear, by the way.
Yeah, no. He's getting worked on.
That's right. So then he's got bad feelings in his kishkas. And surus from his kids, right in the heart, And then a backache from schlepping. I could relate to that. We've schlepped a lot. And sore feet from his fakakta job. Well, I'm retired now, and I would never call Friends of Israel a fakakta job. Okay. It was a wonderful ministry.
All right, go back, because look what I got up on the screen right now.
There you go. There you go.
So you're seeing it. This is the Shlemiel.
This is the Shlemiel. That's right. Overall bad mazel means bad luck.
This is the reason why I told you Jerry Seinfeld did this interview with another comedian named Norm Macdonald, and he said that I only there's a joke that's my favorite joke, but only Jews get the joke. And Norm Macdonald goes, "What's the joke?" And he goes, "Well, only Jews get the joke." And he says, "Well, what's the joke?" And he goes, "All right, I'll tell it to you, but I'm telling you, only Jews get the joke." And he says, "All right, well, what is it?" He goes, "Okay, two Gentile businessmen say, how's business going?" And they say, "It's great." And then that's the end. And Norm Macdonald goes, "What's the big deal?" And he goes, "See, only Jewish people get
That's
it."
right.
But if you read the Shlemiel, it says overall bad mazel. That's the reason why only a Jew would laugh at that.
Exactly.
Is anything okay?
But Chris, I bring this up, so keep that up there.
Oh, okay.
All that, okay? So I got this book, and I got this book because one of our interns, he's not with us full time.
With us, yeah.
He testified that he used to be replacement theology, which is supersessionism from a Jewish point of view, that Israel has replaced the church, church has replaced Israel, okay? A testimony like that, somebody asked him, what changed you? He said, a book. Well, as soon as I heard this testimony, what book is it? I asked, Chris, what was the name of the book? So you sent it to me. It's called Our Father Abraham. Marvin R. Wilson is the author. It's the second edition. First one was written in 1989, second edition 2021. So I start to read this book. If this changed a person, everybody who believes that Israel has a future ought to get this book.
Yes.
I don't know him. I don't even know if he's alive or who. I haven't checked that out. But this book, Chris, listen to some of these things. Every page is a treasure.
Can I just say, too, the thing that your mind would go to a very deep theological book that would show you how the Bible shows that Israel still has a future and there's a separation between Israel and the church. But this is actually getting into this book by Marvin Wilson. It kind of gets into the nitty gritty of the Jewish mind.
100. Listen, I just have a few things. Will you bear with me?
No, please, go right ahead.
We'll probably lose our 7 listeners, but it says, rather, the Christian faith is divinely revealed and is securely anchored in the Hebrew Bible. Okay. The law, the prophets, and the writings. God breathed his word into the minds of biblical authors within a Jewish cultural environment. Okay, we teach that Friends of Israel all the time. Here's something very funny that I'd like to debate with Mr. Wilson, but I can't because it's true. Here's what he said. Though modern invention and outright apathy, through modern invention and outright apathy, our present Western world has grown more and more passive. We have developed a TV-obsessed, entertainment-prone, and spectator-minded generation, which seems to be content to watch life rather than live it.
Yeah.
Chris, this is not the Jewish mind. But here's where I have an issue. The Hebrews were largely energetic, robust, and at times a turbulent people. They were primarily outdoor folk.
That's not you.
Farmers, fishermen, tradesmen. The truth was not so much an idea to be contemplated as an experience to be lived, a deed to be done. The biblical writers often use vocabulary which is highly colorful, dynamic, and action-centered. Yeah, that's the outdoor part. I'm not too sure. I like Holiday Inn. I'm not camping anywhere, Chris. But anyway, he's writing about the writers of the Bible, and what he's saying is true. But it goes on. Laziness, inertia, and passivity were hardly marks of the Hebrew lifestyle. Rather, the Hebrews were mainly doing and feeling people. It goes on. The Bible contains many Hebraisms.
It's true.
Oh, this is great,
Yeah, this
Chris.
is true.
Listen to this. Hebraisms, in which abstract thoughts and immaterial conceptions are conveyed through material or physical terminology. Let me give you some examples.
Please do. Please do.
He's saying, let me give you some examples. We say, look. The Bible says, lift up your eyes. We say, be angry. They say, burn in one's nostrils. Burn in one's nostrils. And he gives the references. Then he says, have no compassion is hard-heartedness. Stubborn is stiff-necked. Get ready. Brace yourself is gird up your loins.
Gird up your loins.
And be determined to go is set one's face to go. And he goes on. Listen to this. Hebrew thought the essence of true godliness is tied primarily to a relationship, not to a creed.
That's
Chris,
interesting.
This is really where the rubber meets the road. It's so thought-provoking, at least to me. He says, the Lord is the God of Israel, and Israel is the people of God. Here is the leitmotif of biblical theology.
The what motif?
The leitmotif, Leitmotif, of biblical theology. The Torah gives direction to Israel on how to relate to the Creator, his people, and the world. Sin ruptures the relationship, but repentance brings forgiveness and restoration to fellowship. In the same vein, today's church must not forget the earliest theology of the New Testament is relational and existential rather than propositional or creedal. Note, Jesus initially appointed the 12 that they might be with him. Certainly the parable of the gracious father, often called the prodigal son, isn't that the gracious father? That's what... Anyway, now listen to this. Am I boring you yet?
No, I love this.
The Hebrews have sometimes been described as a very visceral people. From a psychological and anthropological perspective, the seat of the will, emotions, mind, and spiritual powers is often found in the general area of the gastrointestinal tract.
Your IBS.
Here it is, Chris. For example, in the Old Testament, in the heart, labab, a person may love, may fear, or may sin. In the bowels or intestines, one may feel anguish as from the sound of a trumpet announcing war. The liver, kabod, literally heavy, probably reflecting the fact that this organ weighs 3 pounds and is the largest gland in the body. And finally, and the kidneys, one may rejoice. In the kidneys.
Is that what it says
Yes,
in the Hebrew?
Yes. Kaleot
Really?
is kidneys. So the New Testament reflects this visceral Hebraic perspective on human nature. A person may believe with his heart. One may refresh spiritually the bowels of other believers. And he get Philemon verse 7 and 20. A person may come under judgment of God when the Lord searches his kidneys. Chris, this book, that's just one little nugget of history and how he ties in history and how the Word of God is written in a poetic way and how it differs from the Greek mindset, the language of Greek versus the Hebrew.
You were even, when we were going through this earlier, you were even talking about the
block thinking.
The block thinking, like that's a very Hebraic way of thinking, is block thinking. These two almost contradictory thoughts that would stumble, like that would actually cause to be a stumbling block to many modern people. But in the Hebraic thought, like for instance, you had brought up the idea of election. That's a block thought. But for,
we'll do that next week.
Yeah,
Chris.
you were just saying how essentially that an election for us, it's kind of a hard thing to get our mind wrapped around, that God would elect me. Of course, it's a gracious act of God's kindness. But for a Jewish person, they
don't sweat the details, Chris.
That's right. We'll have to talk about that. Not sweating the details.
That's right. They don't sweat. And it was like reading about me.
Yeah.
This guy summed it so well. I'm learning.
Do you feel like you're reading your own biography right now?
It's pretty close to that, Chris. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting, and we got to talk about
any way that you can get to talk about your bowels. I think you'll take it. You know what I mean?
Kidneys, liver, and look at that guy. That is a Jewish thing. And the Bible is a Jewish thing. And so my wife would get upset when I talk about how, in my family, we talk about the daily stuff that happens, sounds that come from the body. It freaks her out. And she doesn't get freaked out the way I do. When by freak out, she takes her face, goes like this. Don't talk that way. That's just the way it is.
That's right.
Stuff happens.
You're block thinking.
I'm block
You're a blockhead.
I am a blockhead. But Chris, so anyway, you asked how it was going. That's a long answer to this has been a great Thanksgiving break. Because I've learned a lot.
Well, this is good too, because that book, which we will put on the show notes so that you can purchase it yourself on Amazon.com, Our Father Abraham, Jewish Roots of the Christian Faith. It's also important to hear that we have a colleague who is serving and doing amazing things in California right now, and he read this book, and it made him go, I have to minister to the Jewish people. The Jewish people have a future. Israel has a future. I can't ignore this, and it's something that changed him, and Steve goes, I got to know what changed this guy, so there you go.
It has been fantastic. But Chris, I had another theological epiphany.
Okay.
When I was watching Ohio State and Michigan. Now, how do you get a theological epiphany watching what I would deem the most popular or the most consequential rivalry game in college football? Period. There's nothing that rivals Ohio State, Michigan. I happen to be from Ohio, so of course I root for Ohio State. I know there's people. We have a couple people on staff with friends of
would
Israel
disagree
who
with
are
you.
go blue.
Yep.
I understand. But that's not the issue. Winning, losing, Ohio State happened to win, but they had lost 4 in a row before.
But now you're about to share why Ohio State is still better.
This was so important to me that I wanted to discuss it with you. Sports is interesting because I just read yesterday that the Philadelphia Eagles fans, they're 8-4. They egged the house of the offensive coordinator, his family. They egged his house because they don't like the plays he's calling.
Well, I mean,
they're not insane.
They're not just 8-4. I mean, they've been tanking, and their offense looks horrible.
They're 8-4. You are
They're about
what
to be. They're about to be 8-5 and 8-6.
Spoken like a Jewish person. There, you must be a Jewish fan.
Is anything okay?
Anything okay? But listen to what happened when I heard this. This was to me as a believer. I'm really serious. I know it's a funny thing, but listen to this. His team was thinking and close to taking the Ohio State flag and putting it in the center of the M at Michigan Stadium, the Big House, as it's called. Mm-hmm. And Day, the Ryan Day, the coach, said, when we win with humility. We don't go out there and do that. We won. That's fine. And then he said this, it's not about the hatred of your opponent, but love you have for the team. Mm-hmm. Chris, this is something that I heard that, said, wait a minute. As Christians, God himself had enemies. What did he say on the cross? Do you remember what
he said? Forgive them, for they know not what they do.
That's a Ryan Day. It's not. He said it's not about hatred of your opponent.
Yep.
It's about the love you have for your team. And Chris, I heard that as a coach in the most powerful. Everyone knows Ohio State, Michigan. There's 115,000 Michigan fans that come. In Ohio State, in the Horseshoe, there's 100,000 that come. People are beside themselves. They're looking for ways to get the other team. And Ryan Day is trying to, in the culture, say, you know what? We want to beat them, but it isn't about them. It's about what we do as a team. And Chris?
And that's not just in winning. I mean, if you think about, sometimes you watch, any sport, but football in particular, sometimes the penalties that you accrue and the yards that you lose aren't even based on, a holding or something. Sometimes it's just based on your personal reaction to something.
Unsportsmanlike terrible. But as Christians, Chris, there are things that we have opponents out there that we want to beat, and there's injustice. There's all kinds of things out there that we can get angry at. But when you hear Ryan Day say, it's not about them.
Yeah.
It's about the love we have. So for us, to me, it was one of those epiphanies where you say, you know what? It's about Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. If I look at everything through the funnel of Christ, which was the first advice my sister gave to me back 50 years ago when I got saved, 50 years ago, that we set our face towards the goal and to Jesus Christ. There'll be all kinds of obstacles, all kinds of issues. Those issues just fade away in comparison to fixing our eyes on Jesus. And although it wasn't a theological thing, it just struck me, Chris. Sometimes that happened. I said, man, I got to write that down. It's not about hatred of your opponent, but the love you have for your team. I just thought that was great.
It's fantastic. It's good theology in sports. And, but something that often sweetens that up a little bit is some Krembos.
Krembos. Chris, had you ever heard of Krembos?
I've seen the Krembos. I've never had the Krembos.
Krembos are big. I had no idea. And I have to find it.
Here we go. Krembos are back on the shelves. First and foremost, the Krembo, these beloved sweet treats consisting of cookie and marshmallow filling covered in chocolate, are only sold for 4 months of the year from October to February. Despite their limited appearance each year, Krembos are by far the most popular, sweet, bought in Israel with over 50 million units. There's only 7 million Jewish people in all.
It's a big
9
deal,
million
Chris.
Israelis. 50 million units sold each year, calculated at an average consumption of 5 per person in Israel. What can I eat in a day? That's the question. What can I eat in a day? So,
Krembos, what do we have here in the States that is a kind of a yearly thing? Oh, but it doesn't rot. Fruitcake. You ever have fruitcake?
oh yeah, at the Christmas cake.
You know what I've done with fruitcake in the past? Some fruitcake I taste is good, but it's a great thing to keep your door open.
It's a big block.
Those things are heavy.
Well, the Krembo kind of reminds me more of the Easter peep.
Ah, that's a good
The
comparison.
Easter peep. I'm not a fan of the Easter peep, and maybe I'll lose some friends, or maybe one of our 7 listeners
There are people who eat the
will get mad
Easter
at me.
peep who don't like it, but it's because of tradition.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of the candy corn. Oh.
A teeth breaker.
No, thank you. No candy corn. Well, Steve, before we get to the scriptures, we're still in Psalm 119. I just want to remind our listeners that we are sponsored here by FOI Equip, and it's your opportunity to get equipped to love the Jewish people. We've got some freebies for you people, okay? If you stuck around this long, we're thankful that you're here, but we've got some freebies. First freebie is this. Join us December 11th for a free online class that you can be a part of called What Child Is This? The Hope of Isaiah 9:6, taught by our very own Gabriel Penfield, a student at Dallas Theological Seminary. And Gabe is actually the manager of all of our FOI Equip classes and making sure all these
He's
teachers
a gifted guy.
He is so talented.
Look, the guy is technically good. He knows how to do videos and editing, but he's preaching as well. He is a man of like a Renaissance
He's a
man.
Renaissance, and he's in the Jewish community doing ministry, and he's taking classes at Dallas Seminary. So come support Gabe. Come get encouraged before Christmas for free. What child is this? The Hope of Isaiah 9:6. And while you're at FOI Equip, you can also sign up for the Depth of Hesed. The word Hesed, Steve, we were just talking about the Hebraic way of thinking. Well, that's a very Hebraic word. Hesed, which is loving kindness. And we were even saying in that book, Our Father Abraham, that the writer, Marvin Wilson, says in the Hebraic way of thinking, God isn't love. We often say God is love. It's actually the God who loves. There's a big difference.
It's just nuanced so differently that it switches your mind a little bit.
That's right. And so if you want to understand some of these Hebrew words and what they mean, especially this very important word to us, Hesed, then I encourage you to join Dr. Joe Zakovich, who is a professor at the Masters University out there in California, and he's already taught a class on us on the names of God.
He was an intern when you were an intern.
Dr. Joe, he's the man.
But then he moved on to Harvard.
He went to Harvard. He went to Hebrew University. He went way beyond. He went way beyond.
He boldly went where none of us could go.
That's right. And now he's coming back down again to teach us about Hesed. So
Amen.
Sign up for that. And hey, don't forget also free stickers, people. We want to give you 50 free stickers that support Israel and the Jewish people. It's very, very simple to do. In fact, Steve, I've been getting people who've been texting me that have been saying, send me some stickers. Happy to do it. These are stickers that say, I love Israel or Israel forever or pray for the peace of Jerusalem. If you want to give out 50 free stickers and show people what you value, then be sure to text us at 424-1948. Again, that's 424-1948. Steve.
But wait, Chris, I've actually gotten a couple people who want the wordless bracelet.
Oh, I know, the wordless bracelet.
I just sent out 2 of them today. And that, of course, is the joke that was a number of years ago, the wordless book, which is the various colors which share the gospel, and you and I flunked the colors anyway.
That's right.
And then years ago, somebody wrote and said to my wife, who was in charge of mail that came in for our department, and said, I'd like the wordless book in Russian, which was funny. But we said if they'll contact us at 424-1948, I will personally, well, not me personally, Alice is the one that addressed them. We just sent out 2 that Alice did. I will, as long as they last, I have those bracelets, the wordless bracelets, and we'll send them out to you upon request.
All right, Steve, really quick, I got a text the other day from our good friend Pastor Neil. I still have to respond to him, but he was cracking up at our Thanksgiving message that we gave about how you were talking about how things are expensive, but like there's inflation, but it's getting cheaper. And he said, this is a vintage Jewish Steve. He said, if they overcharge you enough and stick you enough, free turkey.
It's true.
They give out a free turkey.
I cannot tell you how many. When I was at the market, I had the coupon. It's free. I'm telling you, what I looked up. The free birds, the company that was giving free birds, people, you had to spend a minimum of $400 over a certain amount of time, and you get a free turkey. So I looked it up. I said to Alice, oh, look, here's the name of the company. I want to get a review on these birds. The review, they said, it is the driest meat you'll ever eat. The company that provided these birds, it's dry.
Is that the company's fault or the chef's fault?
Well, I looked up another company. In fact, the choice I had was either a free bird, I could get the free bird, or $1 off per pound up to 20 pounds. So I'm not endorsing any. I'm telling you what I did. I looked up the company that had the free birds. It got terrible reviews. I then looked up Butterball, which was the one I could get $1 off. So I told Alice, Butterball had all 5s. The other company had 0s.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So they get you. Oh, yeah, we'll give these things away.
The dry ones.
You spent but if you want the good stuff, we'll deduct $1.
Do you think that they see the turkey there sitting around before all the stuff happens? It's growing, and they go, that guy, he just looks dry. He's dry sense of humor, that turkey.
Chris,
put him in a dry package.
All I know is, look, I'm not even the product of internet and reviews. You look up the company that provided the free birds. That's what I did.
Yeah.
It got terrible reviews. Then I looked up, okay, they want to deduct $1 per pound up to $20. Zygazant. I looked it up, and they were juicy. So what do you think I'm going with?
You went with the Butterball.
I went with the Butterball.
But I just want to say this, Steve. I don't know if I can get the picture up on our screen here, but also Pastor Neil sent a picture of, I can't really get it, but it's a picture of the mug on a mug.
Oh, the mug on a mug.
We still have some mug on a mug. So Christmas is coming around.
Why am I not surprised?
That's right.
There isn't a rush for mug on a mug.
Mug on a mug is your opportunity to get a Friends of Israel Jew and Gentile podcast mug on a mug. That means you get our mugs on a coffee mug. Now, Pastor Neil's not using it for coffee. It looks like he's using it
He's a smart man.
For beef jerky or something like that. I don't know the story. But if you want a mug on a mug for Christmas, you'll see in our show notes, mug on a mug. Click on that link, bada bing, bada boom. Get yourself $10. That's all you got to do. It's $10, and we'll get it out to you, mug on a mug.
Well, Chris, I do have a question. We are trying to raise $10,000. I realize it's a strain on the few listeners we have.
It's only 7 listeners.
Yeah, it's only 7 listeners.
So you do the math.
Yeah, so it's pretty rough. But actually, we started 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago, or is this our 3rd week?
No, we're in the 3 to 4 week.
3 to 4 weeks.
Yep.
And we're running it to the end of the year. And what are we up to, Chris?
We're about $4,500.
Okay, so we have $5,500 more dollars. I'm a guy believes in walking by faith, not by sight. We just ask you if you want to help us. The money doesn't go to you or me. It doesn't go to turkeys, juicy or not juicy.
Free or not free.
It simply goes into the Equip ministry, which gets us the opportunity when we have a guest speaker, like we are with Joe, when we need equipment for whatever it is. In fact, Chris, you should talk about, we just did a taping or video of our Bridges program to make it more professional, to make it so it doesn't look cheesy.
Yep.
And so we had to fly Bruce in and all, which we're happy to do. All we're saying is we make the decision to invest, but if you're with us and you think it's a worthwhile ministry, please, any amount is great.
Well, I'll also say too, FOI Equip this is the bupkis part, is the podcast. But the real part, Steve, is when we have young adults go to Israel to volunteer and partner with our local church plants there. Steve, I was just texting you early this morning pictures of our interns.
Amazing.
Our interns, our young adult interns from Phoenix to Albany, New York, Ontario, California,
Malawi?
Canada.
What was
one of our interns is actually from Malawi, but she's studying here in the United States.
But she's from Malawi.
She's from Malawi, and she's in the synagogue. She's at the JCC doing amazing work. In fact, a lot of our interns right now are in LA partnering with Nathan Montgomery, one of our representatives, and he's teaching them how to get involved in the local Jewish community, and I'm sure eating some In-N-Out burger. But all that to say, when you give, you're not just giving to the technical thing. That's really important. It helps run the podcast. But we love talking about what God is doing through Friends of Israel as it's changing people's lives. Steve, our volunteers have put out more than 6,000 hours of time invested in the Jewish community all around the world. We have 91 people who enrolled in Bridges this year to get trained. We logged on 40 new volunteers this year. All of these things are ways that people are influencing the communities around them with Friends of Israel. So if you want to be a part of that, please give. You can do that by going to foiequip.org. And once you get there, you will see a donate button. So you smack that donate button, it'll take you right to an opportunity to give and help us reach our $10,000 year-end goal. We're almost there, people. But we would really appreciate any amount that you can give to help us.
Right, Chris, one of our Tikva volunteers actually ended up becoming on staff, and of all places, Alaska.
Alaska, that's right.
Alaska. It's amazing, and it was all through Equip. The contact came through Equip, and they were driving as volunteers 2.5 hours to Anchorage, Alaska. And we already talked about it on this podcast. They were dealing with Jewish Eskimos with the last name of Goldstein.
That's right.
The last name of... Wait a minute. And they're eating whale.
That's right.
Is it kosher? You need a rabbi to decide. What is this?
Oh, that was so funny, Steve. That's right. I forgot about the Jewish Eskimos. They are actually Jewish.
They're
that is amazing.
Jewish in Alaska.
That's right. I'm telling you, people, it's amazing. So be a part. You can be a part of what we're doing. $10,000 goal. You can still participate. We got all the month of December. FOIEquip.org FOIEquip.org, and then hit that donate button once you get to the website.
Chris, we've done Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Kuf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samach, Ayin, Pei, Tzadik, Kuf. We're in Resh.
We're there. We're almost there.
We're getting there, Chris.
Producer, are you thinking about what's coming next for our...
I'm working on it now.
Okay.
I'm working on it now.
I'm counting on you.
Yeah, well, we look at the oil level.
That's right. Let's go back. Where are you right now on this level? You feeling
with that
bad feeling in your
hey,
knish?
Are you working on it? I'm at a 3 right now.
Okay,
maybe 4.
How's your kish doing?
My kishka's not too good. It's growling away. I got stuff I got to do.
That's right.
I'm retired.
You are retired.
I'm retired.
Why are you overall bad mazel if you're retired?
Because I'm quelling over the ministry of Friends of Israel and North American Ministries.
Amen. Preach it, brother. All right, here we go. We're at Resh. You want me to read this,
Yes,
Steve?
I do.
All right,
yes, I do.
Verse 153. I lost my spot. Verse 153. The letter Resh. Here we go. Look on my suffering and deliver me, for I have not forgotten your law. Defend my cause and redeem me. Preserve my life according to your promise. Salvation is far from the wicked, for they do not seek out your decrees. Your compassion, Lord, is great. Preserve my life according to your laws. Many are the foes who persecute me, but I have not turned from your statutes. I look on the faithless with loathing, for they do not obey your word. See how I love your precepts. Preserve my life, Lord. In accordance with your love, all your words are true. All your righteous laws are eternal.
Chris, as we have journeyed through Psalm 119, probably the middle of the Bible, Old Testament, New Testament, probably right in the center, and in the center of the Psalms is Psalm 119. And again, in the providence of God, I don't analyze how, why, or whatever, because I now realize I block think. But in that understanding,
I love that you can use that now. I'm just a block thinker.
I'm riding it until I can't ride it anymore.
Steve, why don't you think like me? I'm just a block thinker. Okay?
That's it. But the Word of God is obviously central. And this section in Resh, we see the source of deliverance, our Redeemer, our Reviver. He is our source of loving kindness. This section is, again, a repeat, only it isn't exact, of the centrality of the Word of God and how it refreshes, revives, ministers to us, as opposed, contrasting with the enemies of the Word.
You know, I just did you've done these too. Steve Conover hosts the Ask FOI, which you can watch on our Friends of Israel YouTube page. And they ask the top questions that we get here at Friends of Israel. And today, Steve, I answered a question on, is it proper to interpret the Bible seeing Jesus in every verse, including the Old Testament? And I went in, and that's actually it's actually a hermeneutic. Which a hermeneutic is a fancy word for saying interpretation. So it's an interpretation of the Bible that it's called the Christological interpretation or Christological hermeneutic, where you just look at Jesus in the Old Testament and you see him in every. You got to pull Jesus out of every verse. And so the question is that a right way to live and to interpret the Bible? I don't think it is.
I think it's an application. I think there's a lot of application, but the context, when it was written, what did the writers have in mind when they were writing?
And it also shows, and what I'm getting at is that it also shows that when you say, oh, I have to see Jesus in every verse of the Old Testament, then you're saying that the Old Testament can't stand on its own. And here, I was thinking when I was going through this with Steve downstairs earlier for the recording, is that, before we even get to the New Testament, you have to have a Hebraic mind. You already have to have a mind, a Yiddish kepi, in order to understand what's going on. And by this point that you even get to the book of Matthew, you've already learned this. God is one. Monotheism, one God. You learn about God's covenant people, the people of Israel. You learn about what holiness is. And you also learn about the fact that God has a law and that we follow this law. You can't just jump into the New Testament. You have to understand what's going on beforehand. It stands on its own. And then also, even more importantly than anything, is knowing that God's character and nature has already been displayed even in the Old Testament. And, a lot of times we can go, oh, that Old Testament's legalistic, but the New Testament is grace. Where really, look at what it says here. This popped out at me in thinking about what I had mentioned earlier. It says that you're compassionate, that you care, your compassion, Lord, is great. Preserve my life according to your laws. The writer of the Psalms already has a healthy understanding of who the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is. He's the lawgiver. He's given the law. The law matters. The precepts change one's life. It gives a light to their path. It provides guidance in a difficult situation, especially when enemies feel like they're pushing you one direction or the other. And then on top of that, you see embedded in the law, which is almost probably feels like an oxymoron, block thinking, really,
yep.
in many Christians' minds, is that the law is actually an outworking of God's compassion. And so look at your compassion, verse 156, Lord, is great. Preserve my life according to your laws. And so, again, I thought it was very fascinating because when you try to see Jesus, when you're shoving Jesus into every single verse, like you said, application is there. You can't erase Jesus. But that's reading the New Testament back into the Old Testament. That can actually be dangerous for the way you interpret the Bible. You should read it from the beginning, Genesis, to the end, progressive revelation. But in doing so, you also see that even before Jesus was born, the Old Testament was standing all by itself in anticipation of the coming of the Messiah.
Well, Chris, I've heard messages in the past where the speaker is criticizing Older Testament people because he has the knowledge of the New Testament.
That's right.
He's over here and they're living here.
Yeah.
And so the criticism is based on something they don't even know about. Now, if the argument is they're looking forward, 100%. Look, starting in Genesis 3:15, the seed of the woman, there's progressively an anticipation of the one to come. That's why Matthew chapter 1 is pretty important because of all the other stuff. But it often, I get disappointed when I hear judgments that are made on this side of the cross than on that side. And
you're at a different stage. You've got grandkids that are going into college now, which is amazing. I'm still raising, my oldest is 15. But it's funny because now that
that's right. Remember what happened at 15 years old. She's statistically, she's out.
She's out the door.
She's going somewhere.
Trust me, she
you
wants out.
You have to listen to last week's or 2 weeks ago podcast in order to understand that.
Trust me, my daughter's got one foot out the door. She's an independent young woman. But all that to say, I thought it was interesting. What were we even talking about? I lost my train of thought there.
Because I interrupted you.
Oh, no.
I got grandkids who are, Bella is in college at Missouri. Yours is 15 years old.
So maybe you can speak some wisdom into this situation because, sometimes when you're talking to a little kid, you're talking to a little kid. You know that. But, as your daughter or your son turn into teenagers, you start to see them a little bit differently and you have expectations.
And they see you differently.
Oh, they see you differently. But they have expectation, or you have almost expectations that they should just think like you now that they're mature. But they're not that mature yet. And so it's funny because sometimes I catch myself saying things and I'll say, I'll ask them to do something or whatever. It won't happen. And then there'll be this brouhaha that happens. And I guess at the end of the day, I think to myself, they don't think the way I think. And sometimes you want them to do...
And they never will.
And they never will. That's right. And that's the other part is like, I can remember growing up, I didn't do these,
Your expectations have to be a little different.
Isn't that what but you have to almost tell yourself as an adult, like, okay, wait, maybe I have to approach this differently. I'm speaking to a 15-year-old. I'm not speaking to a 50-year-old. I'm speaking to a 15-year-old. Sometimes I feel like what you're saying is so true about how New Testament Christians can look back on Old Testament believers. They didn't have the information that we have. They didn't have the Holy Spirit that we have. They didn't have the full revelation that would eventually become the New Testament that we have. So when you look back and you're judging them and going, oh, Israel should have done this, actually the Apostle Paul tells us we shouldn't be arrogant toward the branches of the tree, the natural branches, which are the Jewish people. Gentiles should not be arrogant. Paul says, do not be boastful against them, because that is exactly what that individual or others do when they look back and they go, oh, those Old Testament people, they have no idea what was. You're right. They didn't have the information quite yet. And sometimes it almost feels like the way it snaps my brain and go, maybe I should talk to my daughter differently, maybe approach it a little bit differently, because I have greater wisdom and life experience that I could speak into her life, whether she wants to hear it or not. But again, I think it's important, and it's bad to judge Old Testament believers in the position they were in.
It ought to make us as people in the church really grateful. Remember, we opened up with Coach Day's perspective. Don't hate your enemy as much as you love your team.
Yeah.
So we could be critical of past people. Remember last week when we did Thanksgiving, 9 went off on their own, only 1 said thank you.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I used at my Thanksgiving table. With only one of my kids came with their kids, but I used that. I've copied it, had everybody read a small section. We get on the 9 who didn't say they were thankful.
Yep.
I don't like to look at it that. I understand they didn't say thank you. 1 did. That's amazing. That's what we should center on. Don't center on the 9 who you think made a mistake. Okay, sei gesund. They excited. They had to go to the priest. 1 came back and understood. And what happened? He got saved.
Yep.
I mean, he got spiritually saved. But I've heard messages where they're whipping into the 9 and let's concentrate on the 1.
That's
Jesus
right.
Concentrated on the 1, not at the expense of, okay, that we could talk about that. Would you rather talk about how ungrateful they are or talk about the one who is grateful?
That's right. And then orient our hearts to be the one who is the one who came back to say
exactly,
thank you. Yeah.
Exactly. And as we think about how we look at this portion, the writer here, he is absorbed in God, in the Word, in the source of his salvation. What's it say? Plead my cause and redeem me. Consider my affliction and deliver me. He is going to the source, and we should be going to the source.
Amen. That is, again, it seems as though my takeaway from this is we're wrapping up. We've only got a few more left
That's
to go.
right. We'll do the shin next week.
My takeaway so far, Steve, is this psalmist, he's got somebody that's bugging him a bit, you know? He's got an enemy.
He's got issues.
He's got issues.
He's got bad feeling in his kishkas.
That's right. He's got injuries because he's a klutz.
And he's got tsurus from his kids.
Sore feet from his farkakta job.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Steve. Well, you've been busy highlighting the news. We've been sending things back for the past almost 2 weeks back and forth, and a lot has changed. But why don't you start it off with 'Tis the Season, signs that winter has arrived in Israel.
Okay, oops, I don't have that one.
Oh, I have that here.
Okay, good.
So the big one, of course, is that the Krembos are back on the shelf, Steve. Okay, that's a big one.
Yep.
Another way that you realize that Christmas, or what is it, that the season, signs that winter has arrived in Jerusalem. Your friends are all for staying in 2025, I honestly believe there's not a single Israeli who cared to let his or her life be disrupted by war, by disruption, by rain. That's another thing. Hezbollah is threatening us. Who cares? The movie theater is protected, reinforced space. Iran is trying for uranium rich enrichment. We have God with us. Let's go get sushi. Once on a rainy day, though, a friend called to cancel our monthly brunch because I couldn't possibly expect anyone to drive in these conditions. That's also Israel for you. Steve, another one that I thought was interesting, how you can know that the holidays are here. 'Tis the season in Israel. I was listening to Hugh Hewitt the other day, yesterday maybe, and he had Bethany Mandel on, and Bethany Mandel is the wife. They're Orthodox Jewish couple.
They live in Maryland.
They live in Maryland, but they're looking to move to Israel.
They are. She is very concerned with what she's seeing here in America.
So Hugh Hewitt asks Bethany Mandel, what's it? Is it different? You're used to the Christmas and that, and you got Hanukkah. What are the kids saying? And she goes, Hugh, there's more Christmas music playing in Israel than there is in America right now. She goes, all the Jews wrote the Christmas music. So they're playing White Christmas. They're playing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. They're playing all these Christmas songs that we know so well.
I wrote about that in Israel, My Glory, in this issue, November, December, and wrote about Christmas and how growing up as a Jewish person, I love the Christmas season. And I listened to all the Jewish authors of White Christmas and Frosty the Snowman and all that. It was great.
There's another one. Whatever Israelis think Black Friday is. Some call it Black Friday, but you'll also see Black November, Blue November, or maybe just a month of crazy sales. The point is, now is the time to pick up anything, really. I have been looking into every store that sells candles, but to each his own. Sei gesund.
But thinking of Christmas, in America, here it is, headline, Portland's woke tree lighting ceremony sparks outrage. They can't even say Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Chris, what is happening?
Well, I will tell you that a couple of weeks ago, I was in Salem, Oregon, which is about, I think, 45 minutes to an hour south of Portland. So I drove through Portland. And I'm going to say there were some great people at one of our conferences. So if you're listening, you're a listener, and we saw you in Salem. Thanks for listening to the Jew and Gentile podcast. But I will say, driving through Portland, it's a different vibe in Portland altogether. So I don't want to say that Portland makes up the entire state of Oregon. I know that for certain. But Portland definitely has an issue because it says Portland has sparked outrage after stripping its Christmas tree of its name, referring to it only as the tree during its lighting ceremony. As thousands gathered in Pioneer Courthouse Square for Oregon City's 41st annual tree lighting on Friday, leaders and speakers avoided mentioning Christmas at any point, including in the ceremonial I can't. It all got botched up there. Ceremonial something events ads. Oh, even in the ads, I guess, for the events. The festive occasion was kicked off with a woman from the Confederate tribes of Warm Springs thanking everyone in the crowd for coming out on Native American Heritage Day.
And Free Palestine chants.
That's
they
right.
weren't singing any of the Christmas songs.
That's right.
They were chanting Free Palestine in the Christmas, which they couldn't say Christmas tree.
I will just say my town has a Christmas tree lighting every year, and I love it. We take our kids there. But there was one year where I remember looking at my wife saying, I feel like the mayor of our town spent more time talking about every other religion than Christianity at the Christmas tree lighting. And, you know, again, I'm not asking the mayor to be the pastor of a church. But it is, you know, if you're going to have a Christmas tree lighting, the name of Christ is in the event. It's called Christmas. So it's, you know, it's funny because it's just like we have to honor these people and then by the time you're all done and the lights come on the tree, you didn't even mention, you know, what Christmas is all about. Zeitgeist. This is Steve, it is the direction that our country is going.
It's crazy, Chris. Let me give you something else crazy. A listener named Timothy sent me The Vindicator, a newspaper, Ohio newspaper.
That is an intense newspaper name.
Yeah,
The Vindicator.
That's right. And it's from Youngstown, Ohio. And the reason he sent it is because the headline in the newspaper is Survivor of Holocaust Recalls Grisly Horrors. That's the headline. This person, whose last name is Gold, her name is Erica T. Gold. And she's 93 years old. She was born in Hungary right at the time Hitler's ascension in 1933. And she's standing in front of 1,000 students, Chris. And let me just read a section from this newspaper concerning her whole deal. Now I got to find it. I had it open, and of course,
look at you with your old school newspaper.
Yeah, well,
I don't even know if you know how to use that. Look at your fingers are so used to scrolling the phone.
That's right. Well, I had it underlined and everything. Why isn't I'm missing page 8?
Oh, maybe there you go.
Okay. Here it is.
All right, if they're stuck around this long, they just left.
Gold expressed concern for this generation, which she feels is experiencing much of the same anti-Semitism and hate put forth by the media and today's political climate that fueled many of the atrocities of 85 years ago. Chris, I bring that up. Okay, here's a woman. They wanted her there. They wanted to hear about what happened to her, how she survived, and what happened in her life. Another headline, Chris. New York City principal denies request for Holocaust survivor to speak at school.
Yeah.
Chris, here in Ohio, in Youngstown, Ohio, they put it on the front page that a 93-year-old survivor of the Holocaust speaking to students who, it's amazing. One of the students, Chris, said this. She praised Gold for speaking unscripted and from the heart, LaBob, right from her heart, just like we heard. Thank you for speaking from the heart. And here, according to the New York Post, the New York principal said, you know what? We don't want her to come.
Yeah.
Chris, what should that go on the OI scale?
That's on a high OI scale. That's definitely a level 5 OI scale with definitely feeling bad in his kishkis and a bit of tsuris in the heart as well, Steve. So there you go.
No question. But Chris, I think before we do the Yiddish word of the day, we ought to go to Michael Oren.
Yes.
Who, Chris, this is, to me, I should say, Gentile nations, beware of Israel.
Yeah.
The iron laser beam may be at a drone near you. Do you know they've already knocked out 100 drones?
Yeah.
100 of them.
With a laser.
I'd rather let Michael Oren, who's a distinguished professor, historian, former ambassador. He's far more articulate. He got all the Jewish brains. I didn't get any of those.
Yeah, that's right. So, well, no, you've got a lot of Jewish brains. What you're saying, top 10 of the third percent?
I graduated in the top 10% of the lower third of my class.
That's right. Well, here's Ambassador Orn. We don't know where he landed, but here we go.
A total game changer. And it's interesting, from among the Hamas documents that we captured in Gaza Sinwar was writing that we've got to launch this attack, this October 7th attack, before Israel deploys the Iron Beam.
All right, so just to give some context here, Michael Oren is speaking to Hugh Hewitt again, and he's saying that this Israel has a new Iron Dome system. It's not rockets that are getting launched.
It's not Iron Dome where they shoot $50,000 rockets.
That's right.
This is Iron Beam.
That's right. These are lasers, and he's actually saying that they found documents written by Yahya Sinwar, who was the leader of Hamas and other Hamas leaders, saying we have to enact October 7th, the attack. We have to do it before they put Iron Beam into practice. Until we have to do this.
He was a smart guy. He was a smart guy.
Because he knew that this is going to be a game changer on attacking Israel. So this is what Michael Oren is talking about here.
Because that's going to change everything. And guess what? He's right.
Have you seen it in use? Did you see a demonstration of it?
I know.
We'd want that in a hurry.
It took down hundreds of drones from Hezbollah. So it works.
Wow.
Dan, it works. And that is a new world.
Look at
you.
He's like, what?
Of Star Wars, of lasers. How much time before it goes from the back of a truck into a handgun? And we know how fast that can happen.
And how fast until it deploys to U.S. aircraft carriers, which are pretty big targets.
Hugh wants it for
which
America.
have railguns and stuff like that. But given that they're the biggest targets in any superpower conflict, you'd want them to have. How big is the thing, Michael? Is it
about the size of an Iron Dome? No, it's about the size of an Iron Dome. If you remember, if you can pick back what a Stalin's organs looked like in World War II on the back of a truck, that's pretty much what they look like. Usually, but the actual weapon, here's the difference. An Iron Dome is the actual interceptors and the launching for those interceptors, which look like an organ pipes, but next to it is a control center. And that is usually the size of a caravan. This operation seems to be all on one truck, which is quite extraordinary in itself.
Is there? We're almost out of time. Is there a name associated with it? Is there a individual who gets credit for this?
Yeah, it's Danny Gold again, a wonderful engineer.
Just a matter of fact, Danny Gold. Danny took care of it.
It has a Hebrew name, Magen Or, which is a shield of light.
Shield of light. You know how much it costs? 50 cents.
Yeah, 50 cents.
50,000 for a rocket to intercept a $500 rocket is now 50 cents. Guess what? In the same interview, Michael Oren said, it'll be after my time, Hugh, but there won't be any bullets in 50 years.
That's what he said. I remember listening to that, and he said, just wait. It's not going to be long. In the same way that, 50 years ago, if we ever talked about an iPhone, people would have been like, this thing's more powerful. The iPhone, the cell phone today that we have is more powerful than what launched the rockets into space.
Chris, 30 years ago,
they're going to be guns that are lasers.
35 or 40 years ago, my neighbor got a phone. You had to give $25 to a McDonald's charity, and they gave you a phone. It looked like a shoebox, but you had to pay for the service, which was off the charts. So my neighbor got it through his company. This phone was huge. But it was a game changer in that the only other phones we ever heard of outside of the house was in rich people's Rolls Royce, and it was still a hard line of some sort. So, Chris. Now look at what we have. You could do anything on your phone. This thing that Michael Oren was talking about is a game changer because they could send 1,000 drones and 50 cents a pop. They'll knock them out. They don't need the huge rocket. And what happens when they can get it in a gun?
Well, and the big thing too is Hamas is definitely been demolished in many ways, but Hezbollah is rearming again.
There's trouble.
Yeah,
they could go back to war.
Yeah, the war is not over. And Iran, of course, continues to flex its muscles as much as they possibly can. And so, anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how they implement this. I'm sure there's going to be some transition period, Steve, where they go from the typical Iron Dome to this. And what else will be interesting is the Trump administration wants to do the Golden Dome over here in the United States of America. Will that be a laser system now that's technology that's being put out there? Or is that going to be Are we going to be investing in old school rockets?
If Hewitt had his way, hey, get that to us.
Get that on the boats now.
We want that. Well, Chris, we're at that time.
All right, here we go. We made it all the way to the Yiddish word of the day.
We did. And in Psalm 119, as we were doing Resh, we heard the word loving kindness. I also heard it from Coach Day, who said, hey, don't concern yourself with the enemy, the opponent. Love your team. Loving kindness. Here we have Gemilut Hasadim. The phrase refers to the performance of acts of loving kindness. Gemilut Hasadim, acts of loving kindness.
Yiddish word of the day, Gemilut Hasadim, acts of loving kindness. That's what we're supposed to be all about as followers of the God of loving kindness. He's not the God. God is not love. It's the God who loves. That's exactly.
Amen, brother.
That's the way. That's
a Jewish kepi, the block thinking. Forget that steep thinking.
the step.
Step thinking.
No.
See, I don't even know what it is.
That's right.
I only know block. I don't worry about the step.
That's right. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for being a part of the Friends of Israel's Jew and Gentile podcast. If you can take us seriously, will you take us seriously
Please
for a minute?
take us seriously.
That's right.
Please take us.
But
give to us.
Go to FOIEquip.org and hit that donate button. Help us reach our $10,000 goal to advance FOI Equip, to continue to influence people, to equip people to love the Jewish people. Again, that's FOIEquip.org, and hit that donate button. And hey, Steve, free stickers, 424-1948. Be sure to get your free stickers that support Israel and the Jewish people. We want you to be connected to what's going on at Friends of Israel. And don't forget to sign up for our class, What Child Is This? With none other than Gabe Penfield. You can sign up for that for free at FOIEquip.org. Hey, everybody, thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.